pocket party.
Start the party in your ear holes there. It might be a good idea. No good. Out. Darren Carter, party starter. Pocket party podcast in your ear holes. Hurry up.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for being on.
All right.
Dude, it's like 1 a.m. I hope your neighbors are used to this.
I got a drum set, man. They've heard worse. I don't like their dog.
Anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I don't like their dog. That was my closer.
Come back, will you?
Yeah.
It's
my house. Of course I will.
You go. Exactly. I'm inviting him back and I'm in his home. He's like, get the hell out of here. Let's go get some hash browns.
All right, good.
Pocket party. Yeah. When I'm down and feeling low with so much negativity, I listen to Darren Carter's Pocket Party. He got his friends as guests and they be really funny. It ain't over till he say, boy, don't hurt nobody. Yeah. They run.
Pocket Party Podcast episode. I'm not sure what number it is, but we're calling Mike Black. Mike Black, I hope he answers.
Edward's heating.
Hello, there we go. We are live on the Pocket Party.
Yeah, we furnish heating mostly to offices and residential areas throughout the Southland. What can I do you for?
Oh, did I call? I thought I was calling Mike Black for the Pocket Party. Who may I ask is talking?
Generally, we don't do parties. We used to have an outdoor unit, but it blew up, and a lot of people were injured, and it was pretty sad. So we don't like to talk about it.
Oh, no problem, buddy. Sorry, I dialed the wrong number.
Oh, it's okay. Leslie, there's a guy on the phone that wants to know if we do parties.
No, I start parties. I'm the
We don't do parties no more because of that exposure. I know. All right, never mind now. It's okay.
You got it. Boy, that was weird. Oh my gosh, I think I dialed the wrong number. Wow, that was so weird. I don't know what happened there. It sounded like Mike Black, but I don't know what that is. Oh, wait, I think. Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
Darren.
Dude, you're not going to believe it. I thought I called your number, and I think I just called some wrong random business.
Oh, that's weird. That happens a lot in the part of town that I live. I have one of those numbers that is real close to a lot of other ones.
Yeah, that does happen, by the way.
It happens to me all the time. I hate it.
I know. You just start messing with them. So how are
People
you on
call
this?
me up all the time. They're like, hey, we're our office is really cold. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about that. I can't help you.
You're like, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Oh, I could start a fire at your office if that'll help.
I could cuddle with you.
Yeah. Tell you guys some stories so you don't think about it.
I could give you some. I remember that when I was in Canada and I had to walk about a mile away, which over there it's like even further because it's like kilometers.
Yes.
And that's how it works, right? And I remember thinking like, gosh, it's about a 15-minute walk in the below, it was below zero. It was about 12 below zero. And I thought, I don't know if I want to walk, but I don't want to get an Uber. I don't want to pay for a cab. And I'm like, you know what? It's an adventure. Come on. It's a city street. I'm not like out in the woods. So
yeah, it's Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So I looked it up. I went online and looked up this guy giving like tips on how to his tips were, I ride a motorcycle in Minneapolis in the winter. Here's how I stay warm. And he said, and I followed almost all of the advice, but not all of it, but most of it. It said, number one, wear lots of layers. So you wear lots. So I put on lots of layers. He recommended having doing some light exercise before you go out there, so I did some jumping jacks to kind of heat up my body a little bit. And then the two secret ingredients that he said I didn't do because I didn't have it, but he said to have some cayenne pepper pills or something like that, so it heats you up from the inside, like some cayenne pepper type of thing, and like these capsules. I didn't do that. And then the other thing he said was I think he said to put some sort of Vaseline on you or something, but I didn't have any Vaseline at the hotel, so I had like some body lotion. So I put the body lotion all over me, and apparently he said that way the wind and cold goes around you, it like slips off your body. Now yeah, it didn't work that way at all, because what happens is I got with the light jumping jacks, you build up a little bit of a light sweat, and so I was
Right.
and I was pretty hot from the exercise and the layers, and I was good for like the first 3 minutes, and then it just get really cold, and then the wind kicked in, and then I felt like things were sticking to me with that clammy skin and like the lotion.
Yeah, lotion does not work the same way as Vaseline does, for starters.
Yeah,
You basically just gave yourself like an ice sheeting layer.
yeah, man, it was bad. And as I was walking, Mike, because I was on my way to this diner, as I
You
was
did the things they do to cause like a mini avalanche when you're pranking someone.
I know.
Like
Dude.
over their door.
Yeah.
Like, get it nice and moist up above their doorway. And then as soon as they open the door, it's going to come down.
And as I was walking, there was this guy who just happened to be walking in front of me, and I kind of walked a little faster to catch up to him. He had like a trench coat and all that. He was really bundled up, looked like the Michelin Man. And I thought, well, damn, if I get kind of close to him, he can block the wind. I could almost draft behind this dude.
Right.
And it was like, but then, I didn't want to look too creepy. Like I didn't want to like get, like we're on a 2-seat bicycle or nothing with my hand around him. Like, I don't know you, but I'm freezing, man. And it's too far to go back. I'm past
There's
the
no way
halfway
you
point.
would not look creepy, mincing up behind him with your layer of frost.
I know. I didn't even care, dude. Like, and let me tell you something. The worst part was like my body I was pretty warm. The only part that was really freezing was my cheek area, the cheekbones right below your eyes, because that's the part that was exposed to the elements. Like everything was pretty warm. You could man up and make it, man. But like that part, that was I didn't have any bandana or mask, or I think they call it baklava or Bacavella or whatever that thing is that snowboarders and skiers wear. I didn't have that. And so I'm like trying to draft behind this dude, and the wind just hit you. So he turned around, and he's walking now with his back facing the wind, but he's facing me. And now it kind of looked weird because he's walking back into the wind, and I'm facing him trying to with this permagrin because I'm freezing. And then I thought, man, this is awkward that I'm staring at him, and we're both walking the same direction. But yeah, I kind of want to turn my back to him, but then it looks weird, like two dudes doing some kind of synchronized ice.
Yeah, it already,
dance.
I'm sure, looked plenty weird.
I know. Yeah.
I'm sure the cops saw you guys and were like, they'll just freeze to death.
They'll just freeze to
death.
Well, I made
whatever they're up to, they'll just freeze to death. We don't have to worry about it.
I made it to the cafe, and here's what's good about cold areas. They know that you're going to be cold and you're going to be covered in snow when you walk in. So you walk in, boom, and you go to like this first like layer before you actually enter the restaurant. There's like this little glass like room or whatever, and so I just stayed in there and I couldn't talk. I was just shivering and like my ears were all teared up and frozen, and my eyes were, did I say ears? My eyes were all frozen, and so I must have stood there for a good like minute before I even decided to get myself into the regular restaurant and talk to the host. I was just like pink.
Yeah, they have a place to like stomp your feet and put your winter clothes.
Dude, I was just pink and icy. It was like, dude, it was no good.
Did they offer you like some stew or something?
I think I don't remember, but I remember I had like a hot cup of coffee and was just ready to, man. And then of course, I stayed there as long as I could and then let it warm up a little bit. And then I was able to make it back. Because I don't remember, going back didn't seem so bad, but I remember walking there was the worst.
You get so cold that you're kind of like, I could just dump this coffee on myself.
I know. Exactly. Like, I think that's when you see those videos, TikTok videos or whatever, where people take some hot water and just throw it in the air and it freezes by the time it lands. I mean, I think that stuff must be real.
Yeah. Where are you from originally again?
I'm originally from the sun. No, so I'm not used to anything. No, I'm from Fresno, California. I'm sure you've heard it yet.
Yeah. Like, I was born in Texas, but I'm really from Colorado. And it's like people talk about cold out here, and it's like I can't even relate to it.
Right.
Because it would get real, like we'd have blizzards every couple of years,
Oh,
you know,
man.
and the wind whips around the mountains and it makes it even colder. And so, like, I know a lot of people, including my dad, that got like bad frostbite, where, you know, frostbite can get so bad that, you know, parts of you fall off.
Wow.
You know, like a guy, it's not uncommon for a guy to lose a finger or two to frostbite, you know, if you're
Yeah.
not careful.
Yikes.
And, but yeah, the closest I ever got, I'm pretty good about like keeping myself insulated in cold areas, you know, but one time we were up skiing.
Ooh.
And there are dangers that you don't even think about, but like I was a kid, so when you're a kid, you rent most of your ski equipment,
Oh, yeah.
you know, because you just grow too fast to invest any money in it, you know. And we were doing that, and I got a boot that just wouldn't latch correctly on my foot.
Mm.
And you would think not a big deal, right? Well, it left like a perfect little funnel for the wind to come into my foot, you know. And we were on the lift up, and I already knew it was a problem. I was like, let me try and redo my boot when we get to the top. But it was so cold that it was like, you know, do it real quick. And I tried it real quick, and it still was doing the same thing.
Mm.
And so the only plan we had was like, it was kind of like it would be the ski equivalent of setting up a porno, you know, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, we have to have sex right now. Our plan was like, well, we got to just ski back to the bottom real fast, you know. And so we just skied as fast as we could, and which made the funnel even worse into my foot. And it was just like this power focused wind on my foot the whole way down. But I was just like burning down the mountain as fast as I could go. And everyone else thought, like, all the other kids are like, wow, that kid's real cool because he's skiing super fast. But they're like, why is he crying? You know,
They're like, a man on a mission. He's determined. He's got to.
Yeah, like if they could see past the goggles and stuff. Thank God I had goggles, because my tears would have literally frozen to my face.
Oh.
But like I got back down to I skied directly into the rental place and was like, this boot is broken. And they were like, oh God, we're so sorry. There was like this old couple that ran it. They're like, we'll get you new boots right now. And,
well, you know, during the Olympics, and I just pulled up the article, there was a Finnish cross-country skier suffers frozen penis during race at Winter Olympics. Do you remember that?
A lot of frozen penises in Colorado.
Yeah, he said, you can guess which body part was a little bit frozen when I finished. It was one of the worst competitions I've ever been in. It was just, he goes, it was just about battling through. And then it said this. It said, because I guess skiers are always bundled up during this winter event, but Lundholm's suit and layers of clothing couldn't keep the cross-country skier from suffering the obscure injury during the race. He was forced to use a heat pack in an effort to warm up the area in question. Unfortunately, it's not even the first time has had to deal with this. He suffered the same type of injury during an event in Finland last year. He says, when the body parts start to warm up after the finish, the pain was unbearable. Yikes.
Yeah, that'd be really bad. For me, if I was like, hey, you know, I want to get into stand-up.
Yeah.
And the first time I did it, I somehow my penis froze.
Yeah.
I would think this is not the job for me. This is God telling me get into accounting or get into something else. You know?
Now, I hate to question the gentleman's size, but it's either really small or really large that it keeps getting frozen. You know? I mean, it could go either way.
I would have to think really large. Like,
where it's like not maintained inside of all those layers.
Yeah,
like it just keeps.
I wrap a scarf around it, and still nothing.
Hey, where's that three-legged skier at? He's trying.
Yeah.
That's how we can
Well,
find him.
they have their. I don't think they're popular really anywhere, but they have like penis cozies, like knitted. They're basically socks for your penis, but I don't think that would do much good in competition.
Is that something you purchase or something you put on your Christmas list for grandma to knit?
It's usually something ladies get for their man.
Oh, like a joke, like
that the man really finds uncomfortable. There's no right way to react to getting a penis sock.
That's right.
Oh, great. We'll use this later. I don't know.
I know. Remember when the Red Hot Chili Peppers appeared on stage with nothing? They're all nude except for socks covering their junk.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a bold move. That's something you do when you're younger.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that when you're older.
Yeah, I don't care how in shape you are. You still look like a melted candle.
And when you're older, size has nothing to do with it. You need a couple of socks.
Exactly, for all areas involved.
Yeah, you're not going to want to see any of this.
Yeah. You know, you said renting ski equipment.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first joined the boxing gym, they have boxing gloves that people have left behind or that they've outgrown or they just moved on to another pair. So there's a big stack of, and you can imagine what these sweaty boxing gloves that have been used by multiple people over the years smell like. But I remember I only used rentals. Well, they weren't even rentals. You could use them for free because and I remember I put them on. And the weird part was, dude, the first day I went in there, they were already wet. The gloves were already wet inside. I remember putting my left hand in, going squish, and then the right hand, and I was like, "This is so gross." I don't think those have just been cleaned. I don't know. This is disgusting. And I thought, I'm just gonna wash my hands a lot after this and go straight to the mall and buy a pair of gloves.
Yeah. That's if I were them, I would have like new gloves there, way overpriced, right next to that pile of used gloves.
Oh yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah,
just that situation.
And I remember I went to the mall and I just bought. I got like a pair of $30 gloves or whatever from like Big Five or something, and of course I go back the next day and then this dude that had been in the boxing scene for a long time, more as a hobby kind of guy. Like there's the pros, and then here's the thing I found out. There's the pros that fight. Those guys are usually working. I mean, they're busy from the minute they get in there and then once they're done with their workout, then they'll talk to you and be social and this and that. But when they're there, they are there to work and they are drenched in sweat. The guys are going to talk to you more and more like guys from the community, guys like me, guys that losers who just want to lower our cholesterol and maybe, get a good pump on, we're not trying to battle for our paychecks.
Mr. T in a month,
Right, exactly. We're like, dead meat. There
is no tomorrow.
Absolutely. I walk in the gym, I say my hellos, I wrap my hands up, and then I train for about 3 hours, and then on the way out, I might ask you where you're going to be performing at. But other than that, it's all about business.
So this one guy, he's like a retired cholo. And I became friends with him, but he would
retire from that.
I guess I don't know what the benefits are like, but yeah, he was. He was funny though, because he reminded me of the kids that I grew up with. Everything I did, I would just see things through his eyes. Like I remember, especially then, because I was very naive when it came to the whole. I mean, it's very intimidating going into a boxing gym, and And I remember walking, and so anyways, he made fun of me because he was like, "Bro, what the?" Then I came back then. He goes, "Hey, where'd you get your gloves, bro? Toys R Us?" And I was like, "No, I got them at I think the Big Five or whatever." And he goes, "Bro, those are plastic. You need leather, bro." Because I got like the plastic ones that said Everlast, because I thought he's like, "That's a name people know, but that's not. You got it." And he started saying like Rival and all these other like inside boxing like names. I basically went with like the most generic one you could think of, but and
Venom, bro. You need Venom.
You need Venom. You need Rival. Yeah, there's all these those kind of brands. And then I remember he was like, it was so funny, man. He was just like making me laugh because he was like, He's like, what do they say on? What do you say again? Like, does one say kapow and one says bam? Come on, bro, those are plastic. Like, you think confetti's gonna come flying now? Or like you get those at 7-Eleven, you get a big gulp. Come on, bro. And so
It's always fun when, like, as a comedian,
yeah,
when a normal person is just telling you something and you realize they just did a 5-minute set on me.
I know.
They don't know it, but they just did that.
They did it, and it was just like, and it was such a thing that I've never written jokes about at that time. So I was just like, it was all like, dude, I must look. This is hilarious to me. And then like, I remember I asked him another question one time. Like talking about post. It's so funny because now I just train and just come home, or I'll eat like some mixed nuts in the ride home or something. I don't even think about it. But back then I was like exhausted, dude. Like just trying to like jump rope for like 200 in a row without stopping. I was just exhausted. I mean, the whole thing was just exhausting. And so afterwards I would sort of get lightheaded, and I'd read that you could drink chocolate milk after your workouts. Like I think sprinters did it or marathon runners did it. I mean, it was like old information from like the 80s. And so I asked him, I go, hey, what's your post-workout? Even this question sounds so corny. Like I look like Richie Cunningham, Opie Taylor to this guy. Cause I'd be like, I remember asking him, I was like, hey, what's your post-workout? Like, what do you, like when you're done working out, like, do you, like I go, I've been walking down to that little place over there and getting like chocolate milk. Cause I heard it's like, it's good for you. Like, do you drink chocolate milk or, and then dude, he looked at me kind of sideways and he goes, bro, you wouldn't even last in prison.
I know.
That's what he said. I wouldn't last in prison. I was like, well, I don't plan on it, but I don't plan whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it takes, whatever you need to give your lawyer, stay out of prison, Darren Carter.
Exactly. Don't ever ask for chocolate milk. Come on. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh, there's a new white guy who wants chocolate milk. And everyone would say it in quotations.
I know. And then
I guess we know which group he's running with because he's in real trouble.
I know, but I remember I looked it up. Benefits of chocolate low-fat milk for recovery. It's good for fluid and electrolytes. Hey, Hector, do you think this is good for my electrolytes? You wouldn't last in prison. I heard this is a great protein source for muscle repair. You wouldn't last in prison.
Which line is the chocolate milk in?
I know. Carbohydrate source to replenish energy and whatever. It just goes on and on. But I thought that was a good thing because it has like vitamin B, riboflavin. But anyways, and it turns out nobody's in.
I think you would get plenty of vitamin D in prison.
Exactly.
Going around asking for chocolate milk.
I'm going to talk to the warden about our chocolate milk supply. By the way, do you like chocolate milk and strawberry milk? I wouldn't last in prison. Okay,
a ridiculous human.
Yeah.
If I had to have one of those, it would be strawberry quick. And I remember being at a bar and a bunch of like manly men were like, I like an old fashioned. And the other one, I just drink straight tequila. They looked at me and they went, you got a drink? And I was like, strawberry quick. And they're like, I don't know what to tell you.
You try to sound manly yourself. You're like, I like strawberry quick, but I drink it slow.
Yeah, no ice.
Yeah. Strawberry quick, but not that quick.
Yeah. You know it's working if the bunny turns purple.
They're like, what does that mean? I don't know what it means, but I know another thing that means you wouldn't last in prison.
You know how they have those beers that when they're cold enough, the label turns a certain color?
Oh, yeah.
There's a one from Japan called the Green Label. Like that's the American translation of the beer. And it has a little frog in the corner that's blue, but when it's ready, when it's cold enough, the frog turns green. And
interesting.
I got to audition for a commercial for it that was just going to be in Japan. And they were like, you will have to learn Japanese. We'll give you extra money to be in this commercial if you do it. And I was like, this sounds great. A free trip to Japan because they were going to shoot there and everything. And they're like, you're a drummer in a band and you guys will just be playing. You don't have to know how to play it. It'll just be fake, whatever. and you yell out the name of the beer, like the band will just suddenly stop, and you'll yell out the name of the beer, and then everyone will go crazy, and that's the commercial.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome. And so I get into the audition, and I'm like freaking out about like the Japanese part, because I'm like, I don't want to do a stereotype, I don't want to do it wrong or whatever, but I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like,
wait. You don't speak Japanese?
no, I really don't.
Okay.
And
Arigato.
yeah, that's about what I know.
Mr. Roboto.
What everybody else knows is what I know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna sound like a dumb American over there anyway, but I don't want to like upset the Yakuza or something,
Yeah.
But like, I'm already planning that far ahead, even though I haven't booked it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And so I get in there and I asked the guy, I was like, okay, so what is the entire line? He was like, all you do is shout the name of the beer. It's Green Label beer. I was like, but in Japanese, right? And he goes, yeah, you do it in Japanese. And I was like, okay, what is Green Label in Japanese? And he goes, you're going to think I'm kidding, but I'm not. It's Green Label. And I was like, what? He goes, Green Label. And I was like, so it's Green Label is Green Label in Japanese? And he was like, yeah, that's it. That's all you have to say. And so I was like, he was like, but do it like real excited. And he was like, do it like Oprah would do it. And so
Goodin
like,
Rebadun.
yeah, I was like, Green Label.
Goodin Rebadun.
And they still didn't use me. I thought I nailed it. I was like, no one's coming in with heat like that on Green Label. But they went with somebody else.
When you said green label, go ahead.
But it made me think, I bet I know a lot more Japanese words than I thought I did.
Oh, yeah. Do you know arigato?
Yeah, arigato. But like, my name is probably Mike Burako. Because that's all it is. They take the English word and they, put their phonetic spin on it, and that's the Japanese version of it.
That's funny. Do you is your middle name a secret? Would you say your middle name, or do you care, or what is it?
I'd rather not.
Okay. Is it Goodin Rebadun?
For doxing purposes? Yeah. Michael Gorin Rebaru Braco. If I ever did like a show over there.
I know, right? I remember in Spanish class.
What's your middle name?
It's Mike Black.
Oh.
That's why we have a connection.
Disappointing.
No, they.
I have to ask my dad some questions now.
I know. I'm the son that they don't talk about. I'm from the Fresno Kid. Your dad went on a fishing trip one year, and no.
Well, he was in the Navy, so I can't really rule anything out.
Yeah, one day this ocean it was it was a low tide, and they went into Fresno, and
yeah, they docked the aircraft carrier in Fresno.
I know. When you said green, I was going to ask you about green.
Okay.
Do you know that Kermit the Frog song? It's not easy being green.
From one of the most popular children's movies of all time that came out when I grew up. Yes, I'm familiar with the song.
You are familiar, but that's another thing. I know things, but I don't know that they're from movies. Like there's certain catchphrases, and there's song. I did not know that was from a movie. What movie is that from? Is that from like
Muppet? The Muppet movie. It's Not Easy Being Green, and it was written by Paul Williams.
It's not easy being green. I didn't know that he wrote that. I knew he wrote the other one, Rainbow Connection.
Yeah.
Wow.
He wrote all the music for the Muppet movie.
Is it Muppet movie? What's the name of the movie? Is it called The Muppet Movie?
The Muppet Movie.
Oh, it's called The Muppet Movie. Okay, because what's that other one? I knew about the Muppets Take Manhattan or something. That's like a sequel, probably.
That one doesn't even count to people from my generation. It's The Muppet Movie. Everything else is a pale imitation of The Muppet Movie.
See, I probably saw some of the bad ones and thought, well, I'm not that into it. But I didn't know that was from a movie.
The original one, had the Muppets. It had a great cameo by Steve Martin.
Wow.
An even better one by Orson Welles.
Wow.
Paul Williams did all the music for it. Frank Oz did a cameo in it. Of course, Frank Oz would do a cameo in that. But
Oh, yeah. Tell people who Frank Oz is, because he did a couple of voices.
he was Grover. I believe he was Miss Piggy for a while.
Yep.
Also, I think he was Gonzo too. He did a couple of characters. Grover's friend, Fozzie.
Fozzie Bear, the comedian.
I think he was Fozzie Bear also. And then when George Lucas started working on the sequel to Star Wars and they needed to cast Yoda, he was like, the whole plan was you keep building up that he's this great warrior, and then you find out that he's this tiny little character. And they were like, we think we can pull that off with practical effects and use a puppet. And so he was like, I'll go to the best in the business, to Jim Henson. And Jim Henson was like, look, I love this project. It sounds so phenomenal. I would love to be part of it, but I'm already working on my own project called The Dark Crystal. But let me hand you off to Frank Oz, who's my partner. He's just as talented and he really knows what he's doing. And talk to him about Yoda. And so consequently, Frank Oz ended up being cast as Yoda.
Wow.
Now, Jim Henson died, I think in the 90s, the mid-90s. But Frank Oz was alive to play the character through all of the Star Wars films. So it kind of worked out to their benefit that they him. And he's also just brilliant in that character. If you listen to his vocal performance in Empire Strikes Back and just kind of focus on like, oh, this isn't Yoda. This is an actor doing this voice.
Yeah.
Because he does it so well that you kind of forget that.
Oh, he does it so good.
You know, and there are great moments where he's like testing Luke at the beginning and he's being kind of a wacky idiot sort of character. You know, where he like grabs the flashlight from R2-D2 and mine, you know,
yeah.
But then like later when he gets like serious and he's like, when Luke is looking at that cave and he's like, what's in there? And he goes, only what you take with you. And it's like, it just sends a chill down your spine, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not afraid. You will be.
You will be. Oh, by the way, I gotta tell you something about being green. By the way, I looked up. You are right about
Yoda,
Paul.
by the way, also green.
Oh, dude.
That has nothing to do with anything, but yeah.
Wow, that was very deep and so close to 420 right now. But and that's also green, but it's no longer 420. But
Yoda probably celebrated 420 like nobody's business. He just alone in the swamp. You know, he probably had the time of his life on 420.
Shout out to songwriter Joe Raposo. Apparently he actually wrote Being Green. But you're right, Paul Williams did write Rainbow Connection and a slew of other songs. But dude, listen.
Oh, right. I don't know. Yeah. You know what? That might not have been in the Muppet movie. It might have been on the show The Muppets.
Yeah, I think it was
or Sesame Street, maybe.
Yes,
even.
That's it. And listen, you know, and I'm not trying to be like I'm a fact checker, you know, because that's like it's almost. I'm not trying to do that. I'm literally
too late.
Too late. You're like
check my fact.
No, because. I look at this. I could just throw up some random topic, and you know so much about it, and you're just like there, dude. I'm gonna round of applause for Mr. Mike Black, pop culture icon, pop culture guru.
But no, that's totally right. The song that I was thinking of was Rainbow Connection.
Yes,
which starts off the movie, and it's brilliant. And but It's Not Easy Being Green is a really great song too. But I think it was either on the Muppets, but I'm thinking it was probably on Sesame Street because it's a very educational song.
Oh yeah,
because it's all about like put yourself in someone else's shoes. You know?
For sure. And I want to say this. I would play it, but I don't want to get the copyright strike stuff. So I'm just gonna do my best.
It's a Disney thing. So
yeah. So listen to this. I'll do the lyrics as Kermit the Frog. So it starts out, "Hi ho, Kurt." It goes, "Greetings, Kermit the Frog here, and today I'd like to tell you a little bit about the color green." And blah, blah, blah. So let's just get to the song. He goes, "It's not that easy being green. having to spin each day. And he goes, the color of leaves. Then I think it would be nicer being red or yellow or gold or something much more colorful like that. It's not that easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many other ordinary things. And here's what I found out. Now I've been on a Frank Sinatra kick. Did you know Frank Sinatra covered that song?
No, I didn't.
I had no idea, and I'd love to play it, but I don't want to. So you guys, on your own time, go look up Frank Sinatra Being Green.
Check and see if Frank Sinatra was ever on Sesame Street.
Okay, here's what I found. It said Frank Sinatra, 1971 album, Sinatra and Company. This recording would later be used on Sesame Street in an animated insert. There you go, Mr. Mike Black. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, it was amazing the star turnout that show had once it hit. It was like, to kids, you were introduced to most celebrities either through the Muppet Show or through Sesame Street. If you didn't have parents that were already into that person, that was usually your first exposure to them. They did one of those two shows. It was that popular.
Yeah, it was. They said it was. It was covered by both Ray Charles, Frank Sinatra. It's Kermit the Frog's signature song. And and then it says memorial. It says the song was sung by Big Bird, also known as Carol Spinney, at two memorial services for Jim Henson in 1990.
Yeah. And that guy was so ahead of his time that it was really just unbelievable. Like what his puppets were on Saturday Night Live. I think they were just called Jim Henson's Creatures at that time.
Oh yeah.
But they were on the very first Saturday Night Live and on a few of them after that. Back when it was like more of a stew of American comedy, like that first episode was hosted by George Carlin.
Wow.
And had Jim Henson's Muppets. I think it may have had a short film by someone else too. So it was just like they were going for broke on like every kind of comedy in that first episode, and then it got streamlined, of course,
Are you too young for this, or did you? I used to watch Captain Kangaroo as a kid. Did you get into Captain Kangaroo?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Captain Kangaroo was an old. He wore a red jacket. He had a mustache and a bowl cut, which was peculiar later, but like most people didn't question it. And it was, to have a kid show at that time was kind of like being a pro wrestler. You had to have a persona that kids could attach to easily.
Oh yeah.
And we just knew that this was an old guy who called himself Captain Kangaroo. We never saw a boat anywhere at all.
Wow.
He was friends with an even older guy called Mr. Green Jeans.
Yeah, Mr. Green Jeans.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm looking at. Look at this. Gosh, talk about being on television for a long time. Captain Kangaroo is an American children's television series that aired weekday mornings on the on CBS for 29 years, from 1955 to 1984.
Yeah. He took up like as, when you think about it, he had to be coming on right as Howdy Doody was ending.
Yeah.
The Howdy Doody show was, they were like, well, you're Captain Kangaroo, kiddo.
I know. I wonder.
We need someone to replace Howdy Doody. Him and his young friend, Mr. Green Jeans, were like.
His young friend. That's funny. I got to look that up real quick. Howdy Doody, because I want to know what year Howdy Doody was on. I have no idea. 1947. Because here's what I know about that. Because me with the red hair, what I got called. I got called Howdy Doody.
Yeah.
And it was generally from older folks. Yeah, see, look, from 1947 to 1960. So when I had on my, God forbid, especially when I had the bright red hair, if I wore a cowboy hat and like a bandana around my neck, they were like, Howdy Doody, and I was just like, I did not like the Howdy Doody,
Well, Howdy Doody has to be the template for Woody from Toy Story.
Oh, you're right.
Because there were no toys like that when I was growing up. But I remember seeing old, like, Howdy Doody dolls at, like, garage sales and stuff.
from like old people had those, you know.
And they also had Raggedy Ann and Andy. Remember that?
Yeah. Just terrible toys. I don't know how they live.
I know, Clarabelle the Clown. Oh, that's what's good about Toy Story, because it does, you know, what happens to those toys after the child grows up and goes on to college, you know?
Yeah, really, what a great setup to tell a story, you know, about getting older and about just maturing. You know, I liked all the movies, but Toy Story 3 for me is kind of where it should have ended. You know, that one, there was not a dry eye in the house at the end of that movie, where they all think they're gonna melt.
Oh yeah, in the incinerator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that one. You're right.
Cow.
Oh yeah.
I was like, it's never gonna get better than this moment, you know, for this series, you know. But I'm looking forward to that new one, the Lightyear.
Is that four? Is that going to be 4 or 5?
It's actually a new series, but it's what the concept for it is. This is the movie that the Buzz Lightyear toys were based on.
Oh, that's smart.
And so it, like, the preview for it looked pretty good. I was like, you know, it doesn't have anyone from Toy Story that I know of course, in it, but Chris Evans plays Buzz Lightyear, the movie character, you know, and it's kind of like his origin story movie, but the preview for it made it look really, really good. So who knows? I hope it's good.
I like that one evil character. Remember, he was all friendly in front of everyone. He smelled like strawberries. He was like, oh, and then when no one around, he was like the jerk. Remember that strawberry bear?
Oh yeah. That was I think it was Ned Beatty played him. They got some great people playing the different characters, like Don Rickles played
Mr. Potato Head. That's right.
You know, Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear was what a great casting job that was.
Did you yeah, that was good. Oh, I got a question for you. Somebody, I can't play it now because it's a voice recording, but somebody told me they had a regrettable tattoo. and
oh yeah,
yeah, the regrettable tattoo. Basically, the story was the guy had a crush on a girl. Turns out she was a tattoo artist, so he had her.
No.
Yeah, so he had her. You know, she put the tattoo on him, and then like a week later, she wanted nothing to do with the guy.
Oh, he creeped her out. He got too many tattoos.
Yeah, or maybe it's like, you know, when someone's super friendly.
He might have pulled the stupid move where he's like, oh, this waitress is really into me, that sort of thing.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. When someone's on the clock and, man, the barista always talks to me at Starbucks. And then when she clocks out and she's rushing to her car and the guy's still trying to talk to her and she's like, okay, I got to go. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Later. Bye-bye. You know, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, maybe. I still want to be tipped, but don't, you know,
exactly.
It's got to be brutal to be a girl in that situation.
Yeah.
But I bet he pulled like the romantic. He's like, I'll get a heart and her name on it.
Yeah, and she'll have to put it on me because I'm, you know. No, what if
she's clearly into me, so she's gonna love this.
What if it? Yeah, the little caveat to it is he's like, I want you to tattoo an arm right here on my forearm, and so she's doing it and she's polishing it up, tickling his arm, all that. I don't even know about tattoos.
Yeah,
but, and then
there's a lot of tickling.
A lot of tickling. Yeah, exactly. And then
a lot of arm tickling.
And then you're right. Then he's like, now can you put an arrow through it? Now can you put my name? Okay. And then can you put Dave?
Good.
We'll call him Dave. I don't know, make it a random name. Dave. Actually, that might be his real name. I don't know I forget what his name is. Can you give me a random made up name?
Paul.
And then you write plus, and then that's where she has to tattoo her name, which would be
right, Matilda or something. Something incredibly long that doesn't fit in the bottom of a heart.
Exactly. And then she's sitting there going, "Oh my god, this is so creepy."
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then under can you write forever?
You know, she has to be like, so what a coincidence that you know another Matilda. I don't.
Can you give me eye contact as you're doing this regrettable tattoo? Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. That is terrible.
Then he said a week later she wanted nothing to do with him, and I'm like, yeah. So I don't know if it was a crush type of thing, but no, he had a crush for sure. But then And then another guy I worked with recently, he said that this is a little bit sadder, but when he was 17, and now he's probably in his late 40s, maybe 50, but when he was 17, one of his childhood friends somehow got killed. And so at 17, he had a tattoo, but now as time has gone by, he's like, yeah, it meant a lot for me at the time, but now, it's been so long, and I'm just walking around with another dude's name on my arm. He's like, I want to take it off, and you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And also I think now he's a father, and he doesn't want his son growing up like he wants to kind of show his son, like, yeah, don't just put random things on your body with tattoos, because you might regret it later.
That's probably, in a way, it worked out for the best, because his son's like, why does he have that idiotic name on his arm? His son don't get a lot of tattoos, and I'm sure the son is like, Roger that.
yeah, because the son is 3. He said so. He was asking me. He goes, "Think I should go?" He said he was asking me and the other comedian on the show, like he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about taking my son in with me to watch me get the tattoo burned off. And we're like, no. He goes, no, but that'll show the kid, like, don't do this. Don't be like that. We're like,
the idea of traumatizing a kid to teach them a lesson, I don't think it ever works as well as you think it's going to, and usually has like some sort of unintended consequence to it,
Yeah, we were both like, just let it go, and he won't even know that you had a tattoo. By the time he's 8 or 9 or 10, he won't even remember like that you had a tattoo of a word on your arm. Don't.
Well, like, here's a weird, like, unintended consequence that happened to me. I had an older brother who's my oldest brother, excuse me, who used to really take delight in grossing me and my other brother out while we were eating, and so he would like say, like, you're eating macaroni and cheese, and he'd be like, you're eating worms or whatever, just random stuff. You wouldn't think big deal, but what it did was it made me avoid food all day. And then I would just get real hungry, and I would eat, but I was miserable because I'm still thinking about all the stuff he said, but I would power through it and just eat until I was full. And then, like, eventually you start thinking about full, and you're just like, just eat a lot, just eat,
Yeah.
And so it had a real negative effect on me. But it was, I think, the opposite of what you would think. Like, when I tell most people that, they're like, you would think that would make you really skinny, like,
yeah.
And it's like, no, it actually does the opposite, because when you don't eat all day, your body goes into hoard mode.
That's true.
And then you just start eating a bunch, and it's like you're storing up for a hibernation, like a bear, and so it does the opposite to you. So I've never been pro the idea of, well, we'll teach the kid how to do this with negative reinforcement, because it's like that can backfire on you pretty easily. Like,
right.
I don't want my daughter to become a stripper, so we're going to get super, super religious. Look out, because you're in real trouble.
Or I'm going to show her what the real world is like with these strippers. And what if she's like, oh, there's good music.
She's like, real world is awesome.
There's loads of cash they go home with. It's like,
they get a lot of attention.
They get a lot of attention. I know, man. Speaking of losing weight, this weekend, I don't know if it started with Easter and I ate some donuts on Easter and whatever. One thing led to another. I didn't exercise as much. I ate more, and then I was on the road, and man, they have burgers at the club, and they were delicious. And I was just
yeah.
And then I went to Cracker Barrel because we don't have Cracker Barrel here, and it's
Cracker Barrel is
it's crack.
Pure death to a fat person.
Oh my gosh, because I've tried the thing in the past where I would go to Cracker Barrel, then also get a salad to balance out the mama's breakfast.
Right, yeah.
And then, and so this time I was like, nope, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get my pancakes because they're crispy on the edges. I'm going to get eggs. And then she's like, hey, hon, did you want cheese with that on top? And I'm like, yes, thank you. Like, it's an improv exercise. I would, like, yes, and. So, and then And then I think, what else did they give you? All I know is it was delicious. Like 2 little bottles of warm syrup, the butter, the pancakes. It was delicious. The only
They
reason,
don't skimp on anything there.
dude, the only reason I didn't go back was the service was really bad, and I hate to badmouth Cracker Barrel because I love Cracker Barrel. When I'm on the road, and there's a Cracker Barrel, it lets me know I'm on the road. I mean, that's one of those things you're like, wow, I'm on the road, I'm out of town, I'm touring, I'm going to Cracker Barrel. And
Cracker Barrel, it's Darren Carter's choice.
I love it, man. Like when I was in El Paso, because El Paso is 80% Mexican Americans or Latino, I would say. And the guy cracked me up because they have so many good Mexican restaurants in El Paso. And he goes, hey, how come, the promoter goes, hey, how come every time you come here, you always want to go straight to Cracker Barrel? And I was joking with him. I go, hey, don't you know this is white people headquarters?
Can I tell you about one of the best experiences I had at Cracker Barrel?
Oh, please do.
We were in Arizona, and I was with the great John Panette, and this group of girls came over to me after the show, and they were like, we thought you were super, super funny. Would you like to come? We have a private bar. Would you like to come drink with us? Now, before you get all excited thinking this is like a Penthouse Forum type story or something that.
Yeah.
Every single one of these girls had the haircut and the wardrobe of a young Matt Damon.
Yeah.
And many of them looked a lot like a young Matt Damon, and who's a very attractive man. Just, I'll set that up for. And so I was like, yeah, that sounds like a blast. And the girl who approached me just like sheepishly said, just so you know, though, we're all lesbians. And I was like, okay. Like I pretended I didn't already understand that,
You don't say.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds fine. That's no problem. But what I realized, it's kind of great and sad at the same time, is that there was like so many like hate groups and stuff like that they kind of had to have a bar of their own. And it was like, I almost felt like, you guys, I'm okay if you want to blindfold me while we're going there, to like, so that I don't know where it is or whatever, because like, I was kind of honored. I was like, they put a lot of trust in me to just take me there, and but it was this great bar. We had a fantastic time, and they drank me under the table very, very quickly. And I eventually passed out, and I woke up, and I was in the back seat of a car with my head in one of them's laps, and I was like, what's happening? And they were like, oh, you kind of fell asleep a while back, and we're at Cracker Barrel, and the girls are getting you a breakfast to go, and then we're going to take you back to your hotel. And I was like, you guys are the best.
You girls are the best.
Yeah, and so it was like such a fun, like normally you never really know, when you're on the road, when people say come hang out, what that could turn into. It could be really awful.
Yeah, it could be terrible.
I want you to make out with my wife. I got a gun. And oh no.
I know.
There's really no telling. But it was just wonderful experience, And like eating like to-go Cracker Barrel is just as good as eating at Cracker Barrel.
Oh, that makes sense.
They load it up,
My buddy used to work at Hooters, and Toogie, shout out to Toogie Jackson. And he used to work at different Hooters, Santa Monica, Pasadena, San Diego. But I remember when he was at Hollywood Highland, he was like, yeah, come down and I'll hook you up. So I'd go down there and he'd hook me up, and it was kind of fun. Like you're in the environment, and and I didn't feel like I was, when like on South Park, I think it was, where the guy walks in, Butters or whatever, and he thinks the girls like him, and they'd be like, welcome to Raisins, or I think it was called, and
oh God, the Hooters episode. Yeah,
remember?
Yeah.
And he'd bring them like, here's a teddy bear for you, Samantha, and whatever. So like, I didn't feel any of that. No one was trying to turn on the charm, and they were just like, oh, hey, Toogie's friend's here, and it was just great. I would just hang out with Toogie, and but one time I got the food to go, and I remember thinking like, wow, this isn't that good at home. I think part of what made Hooters fun was like the fun that you're there, like the girls with the orange shorts and people. I don't know, it was just fun, you know.
It was very much targeted at guys as like a place for guys to hang out, but also I think at the time it was also pretty welcoming to women too.
Yeah,
like they didn't go way overboard on the kind of man cave sort of vibe.
Right. Yeah,
it was still sort of welcoming. But I'll tell you, the Hooters in San Diego, whoever was running that joint knew what to do. They like recognized an opportunity that nobody else did, and it kind of changed everything. Because when I've been going to Comic-Con regularly since 2000, San Diego Comic-Con. It's the biggest sci-fi and comic book convention in the world. It's the Super Bowl of that sort of event.
Yeah.
And that happens in San Diego, obviously. But in the Gaslamp district, it was kind of like the vibe was, we really wish you nerds would just stay in your convention center and leave the rest of us alone, because we're not wild about having this convention here. And it is kind of becoming what we're known for, and we don't like it. That was really the vibe for a long time. And then I think the guy at Hooters, the manager at the time, just started asking around, like, what do you guys do there? And it's, we read comic books and we eat a lot of food, and, we save up all year to come here and spend money and stuff like that. And he was like, isn't that interesting? And so, like, he was the only one in the Gaslamp, puts up a sign that says, Comic-Con attendees welcome.
Oh.
And he put, like, the bat signal in one of the windows. I vividly remember he put, like,
That's
the bat
so cool.
signal in, like, window art, and then, like, a Spider-Man in the other one. And it was, like, clearly by someone who doesn't really know anything about it, that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think like Spider-Man had a cape or something, it was like he was just trying his best though.
It would be like if I did it, like I would use all the old references, like, hey, look, it's the Incredible Hulk.
Right. We love Spider-Man and all the other X-Men, like,
exactly.
Whatever, all that stuff.
Fantastic Four, blah blah blah. We get it, like yeah.
We're having a Superman wings or something, How do they relate to Superman? I don't know. Just eat the wings, kid, But what was awesome is that the waitresses treated it like Halloween. And so they just went and got like Supergirl or Batgirl costumes and stuff like that. And so that whole week they got to just dress up anything sci-fi related. And they, like, it's all like, not all, but at the time, all that stuff hadn't really gone mainstream yet. So it was a lot of nerds that were socially awkward, didn't get out but this one time a year, and they had been saving up money all year. So a pretty girl in a Batgirl costume bringing them hot wings, that girl got tipped a lot.
Oh.
And they were so socially awkward that they wouldn't bother her either.
You guys are a bunch of butters, basically. Like,
yeah, they were just like, oh, this is the best time.
Thanks for dressing up in a costume and playing along.
Yeah, they were like, you're a really wonderful person. Like, can I shake your hand? That was like as bad as they would get.
And
that
if not, and if you don't want to shake hands, I totally respect that.
Yeah, that was that was the most aggressive guy in the group.
Well, that's the Hooters that my friend Toogie worked at. He worked at that Hooters in the Gaslamp. I remember when it opened, and I knew him from the Comedy Store in La Jolla. And then I moved up to L.A. He moved up not long after that. And dude, by the way, has a happy ending. Toogie was the cook and training manager at all these places. Whoa. Get a little feedback there. He ended up marrying a Hooters girl, and now they have, I want to say, 3 beautiful children and live in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great, man. He's a funny guy, and he found love and found a family. They're still married. They have kids. It's really cool. Like, and it was, yeah. So Hooters. Oh, by the way, I looked at the, I tried finding the Cracker Barrel menu, and I couldn't find it, but I did see some of their new releases.
Oh yeah.
This is their new release. Cracker Barrel Old Country Store launches new bacon-themed menu items. These are limited time only, folks, but we have a bacon mac and cheese. That's right. It's topped with crispy bacon bites, parsley, green onions, and Parmesan cheese. There's also a bacon and egg hash brown casserole. There's a huckleberry tea, but no bacon in it. That sounds weird. Pumpkin spice latte as well. I don't know if I'd like the Cracker Barrel pumpkin spice latte, but
I don't know if I'd want that with a big bacony dish. But yeah.
I know. And then, okay, so check this out. I was at the hotel, and I asked the lady. It was funny. The girl working behind the desk, younger lady. She had these long nails, and one hand was painted pink, and one hand was painted blue, like the fingernails. And I go, hey, I just noticed both your nails are two different colors. And she's like, yeah, some people think like, oh, she's like, like, is it a gender? Are you going to do a gender reveal? It's like pink and blue. And then she made a little joke. She's like, no, because I represent the Crips, and I'm also a sweetheart. I'm in love, or something like that. I was like, okay. And then I asked her, I said, hey.
I thought you were going to say she represented the Bloods also. I was like, this lady's playing a dangerous game.
I know, with her hands and with those gang signs. And then I said, hey, I'm going to go to Cracker Barrel after this, because it was like I got to the hotel like 9:45 in the morning, like super early. And I go, is it still open? Is it still there? And she goes, yeah, but I'm more of a first watch girl. And I don't know, for those of you that may or may not know, there's a restaurant called First Watch, and they're in other regions. I don't know if they're in LA, but they're in a lot of like the Midwest and other states. Have you ever been to a First Watch? They close at 2:30 in the afternoon.
No, I have not even heard of this, but it sounds like something I would like.
Oh, dude, you would like it. It's sort of, I mean, the only thing that's like Cracker Barrel is that, yes, it's breakfast. Yes, their theme is all about tractors and farms and that kind of stuff. But it's, let me tell you that the bad part about Cracker Barrel, sadly, at that one that I went to, is I asked to sit by a window, and then she's like, sure, follow me. And then she sat me in what she called the third dining room, which was basically the back corner. And I sat there for about 10 minutes before anybody came over. And I thought, did they forget about me? Because I'm over there sort of by myself. And so I got up and went back towards the hostess to say like, hey, I don't know if anyone. And then it's bad when the manager comes over with the walkie-talkie and then she takes your order. So she took my order.
Wow.
Yeah, and some more time went by. I think what happened was it might have been a shift change, because this one lady came out, dropped off my food. Literally, Mike, a minute later, hands him the bill. And I was like, wow, that was weird.
Oh,
and
I hate that.
And then about 4 minutes later, a guy starts being my waiter. Like, he's like, hey, buddy, did you need some more coffee? And I was like, the coffee, and I was like, maybe in a little bit. And there was like, and then he never came back. And I just was like, okay, I'm leaving. This is like too weird. Like, yeah.
It's funny. Did we talk about this? I think we talked about this in person, maybe. But
don't fool the audience. We never talk in person. You're one of those big guests that has nothing to do with me. No, I'm just kidding.
I've come to realize that the worst service you can possibly get is when you're the only person in the restaurant. Oh,
you're right.
You would think it would be the opposite. Like, everyone will be waiting on me hand and foot.
Right.
It'll be great. What it is you're interrupting their break. They're like, we've got 20 minutes before the rush, and some jerk is in here trying to order food, and he's ruining what little free time I get today.
Yep.
And so that explains a lot of that. But there's nothing I hate more than being totally ignored, and then they bring your food and your bill almost simultaneously.
Yes.
I've had them, I had a place in San Diego, same area, but they brought my breakfast, no silverware, no ketchup, mustard, any of that sort of stuff. And I didn't see them for another half hour to flag them down for silverware, And so finally the guy comes back with the bill and he goes, anything else? I was like, anything else? I was like, you didn't do anything. You know?
I know. That's what I was
like,
thinking. It's like,
you brought my breakfast, but I couldn't eat it. And he was like, why couldn't you eat it? I was like, I didn't have a fork. He was like, well, you should have come in the back and got me. I was like, I'm going to go back into the kitchen and get you.
I know. When I went to this place called First Watch the next day, hold on one second. Dude, it was great. First of all, I looked at the reviews and people are like, they're like, I waited in line 1 hour and let me tell you this, it was well worth it. And I thought, well, I don't want to sit in line. I'm not going to stand in line for an hour. I'm not going to do that. Like,
no.
So I went there. It closes at 2:30. I got there at 1:30 and there was no line. I was able to walk right in. By the way, what's the longest you would wait in line for a food, like for a restaurant?
Not very long.
Yeah.
I'll do about a half hour.
Oh,
or like if they say like, it's a half hour to 45-minute wait. That's right at my limit.
See, I'm shorter than that. I'm at a, I would say well, it depends on what the other options are. Like if there's plenty
also, it's like,
yeah.
Usually if I'm in that situation, I kind of knew it was coming.
Right.
Like yesterday I ate at Gyugaku with John Little, the comedian, and they have one in Burbank. Now it was Sunday night and it's an all-you-can-eat meat place. I was like, we're going there at 7. I know we're not going to eat till 8. I just know it in my bones because they don't take reservations. And so we went there and sure enough, they were like, it's a 40-minute wait. And I was like, we're not eating till 8. Even though they're like, we'll be ready at 7:40. Sure enough, like 8 on the dot was when we got in, But it's like, it's a popular place on a popular night to go there. We deserve that,
You're right. Yeah, exactly. Like if it's if you know what you get into, and they're like, for me, I'm thinking like if they say it'll be a 15 to 20-minute wait, I'm like, okay, cool. Because I also learn if they say it's a 30-minute wait, and I'm like, no, I want my food now. And then by the time I get to a car, drive somewhere else, find a spot,
right.
And now that place tells me. And that place tells me there's a wait. I'm like, I should have just, like.
Then you get real hungry and you end up at like Burger King or something. And
totally.
It's like,
I remember I did that once with a buddy of mine. He was like, he told me we're going to go, this is the location, this is the time. And then, so I was like, perfect, 2:00. And then it ended up like him changing his mind, him being late, let's call my sister, see if she wants to go. And so instead of eating at 2, now we're eating at 4. And I remember we went to the Black Angus. No, what's the Australian one?
Oh, Outback.
Outback, yeah. So I was starving, so we ordered shrimp appetizers. They came out, and I ate most of them. And then his sister still remembers that.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that Darren Carter, he ate most of the shrimp appetizers. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's right.
Because we added you last minute.
Yeah, and you can't.
And that's why we were waiting 2 extra hours. And then you took forever to order. That's why I ate all this shrimp.
I know. Remember that? We kept changing locations, parking, getting out, going here, going there, inviting you. Yeah, and it was like, but it's funny. That's in her mind, I'm that guy, which I always feel terrible. But at the same time, I know the backstory.
You should have eaten all the shrimp.
I know.
And just kept eye contact with her the whole time.
This is because of your brother, Mr. And I'm gonna shout him out right now, Mr. Jay Davis. I love you, Jay, but that was you were ADD Jay that day. It was like
that day. I've met Jay Davis. Who are you bullshitting?
Yeah. Exactly.
I love Jay. He's hilarious. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's fun to ride in a car with, actually, because he's so energetic and he's so he's one of those guys that never lost his enthusiasm for living in LA.
Exactly. And that's kind of what it was. It was like, oh, you know what? Let's go here. And then we go there and then they're closed. They're closed.
Yeah.
I know what we'll do. We'll call my sister. We'll have her meet us at, and it was like, and I'm like, dude, I'm starving. Can we just,
wait, why is your sister entering into this, Jay?
I know. And then I think it turned out
I love him to death, but I would not let him plan a meal for for me for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember one time he had this club and he was booking it. It was called Yankee Doodles in Santa Monica. And he's also known as the mayor of Sunset for a while because, he knows everybody. He's a great promoter. He got Dave Chappelle is what gave him his start, like Dublin's. And I remember, anyways, long story short, I go to the club in Santa Monica. and Jay was like, "Hey, D, did you get everything? Did you order already?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't ordered." He goes, "Follow me." And so I was starving again, and I'm following him. But as we're walking, he's like shaking hands with people, telling them the show's about to start, blah, blah, blah. How you been? Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm following him around this crowded like nightclub that's about to start comedy. And around 15 minutes later, he turns around and he goes, "Hey, did you get something to eat?" And I'm like, "No, you told me to follow you so we could go order." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, follow me." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I've learned to don't be hungry when you're around Jay.
Yeah.
You're like,
Just have a Snickers on you at all times.
Yeah. But hey, I think we're both learning something. Don't be hungry, because then at the end you'll just overeat. You'll overeat and you'll start hoarding food because that's what I did. Dude,
and then your energy just goes out the window. The whole point of food,
by the way,
is energy.
And we're winding down on this podcast. I want to thank Frankie Leal, who is a photographer. He made my new logo for the podcast.
Oh, that's so cool.
Great photographer. You guys follow him on Instagram, Frankie Leal Photography. Also, Mike Black is back on Instagram. And Mike's a real treat to follow. There was so I go to First Watch. They have a thing called $1 Million Bacon. And if you could imagine, it was delicious. And I think it's all marketing, especially after reading Jerry Weintraub's book, which is what I'm in the middle of. It's all about marketing. He calls it $1 Million Bacon, but it was delicious. It's bacon, and they drizzle maple syrup on top of the bacon. Come on, it's good, dude. It was so good.
Well, there's a place out here. I want to say the Kitchen or the Farm or something like that. But they do a thing called crack bacon, and it's really, really good.
What is cracked bacon?
No, just crack bacon, like it's as addictive as crack.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's as addictive as crack. But but that First Watch is really good, and it was the opposite of Cracker Barrel. I walked in, sat down. They ordered my beverages. I said I'd like the $1 Million Bacon. Immediately, another guy swoops in. "Here's your coffee," and they leave the pitcher on your table. They brought a water, and then like another 3 minutes, the $1 Million Bacon is right there. Boom! I'm like eating the bacon. I'm like, by the time I finished the last bacon, I'm like, oh, my hands are kind of greasy, the fingertips. And I stood up to go use the restroom. Right as I stood up, the guy goes, "Perfect timing," and he was there with my food, and the food was it was in a skillet. I got like some skillet thing, so you know it's going to be good when it's like in a skillet. It was so good. I washed my hands. I come back. I finish. It was just so good, man.
Okay, I just remembered the name of the place. You're going to want to go there the next time you're in LA.
Okay,
it's called Grub. Simply Grub, and they have the crack bacon burger.
It's called Simply Grub or just Grub?
Just Grub. And the crack bacon quesadilla with apples, which doesn't sound good right off top, but it really is.
Wow.
So it's worth checking out the next time you're in town. If I remember correctly, they do really, really good like breakfast potatoes too.
Damn, that's good. You know what? By the way, today I was good so far because, like I said, I kept overeating on the road. So today I had my oatmeal and my banana, and yesterday I had a sandwich and a little salad. I gotta keep up with the veggie intake and I read this thing on how to lose weight, and one of them said to every day treat yourself to a giant salad. So I've been doing. I'm going to start doing that again. I did it before and it worked because you're eating that big salad. So even if you do have if I do have a peanut butter sandwich or this or that, at least I've had that giant salad. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know what, dude? I ordered this sandwich thinking, oh, I'll eat a sandwich after my show. When I come back at midnight, I'll have that turkey sandwich ready to go. And dude, do you know, I bought the sandwich. Somehow I got distracted. I left it on the counter in my hotel room.
Oh, no.
At 4:00. And then at midnight, I go to open up the fridge because they put me in a suite, which was really nice. And I'm like, where the heck's my sandwich? I look over and there's the bag. But I keep my hotel at about 67 degrees. So it wasn't that hot and it was very cool. And I'm thinking, do I throw the sandwich away? Do I eat the sandwich? What do I do? So it'd been about 8 hours and I Googled how long should you eat a sandwich, and it said basically 2 hours if it's unrefrigerated.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mike, I ate the sandwich, and I think, knock on wood, nothing happened. I felt good.
Well,
So
that's good.
I think it's because the room was really cold, and I think it's because the room was really cold. Because think about when we were kids, like people when they take their lunch and put it in the lunch pail, and probably leave it even outside the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's it sounded like that topic kind of bored you. You're like, it led to nothing.
Old sandwiches. I don't know why you thought I would be riveted by that.
you go, dude. I got nothing.
Yeah,
here's a challenge.
Yeah.
Will you leave a sandwich on the counter and 8 hours later eat it? You're like, no, I won't. But
no, because I'm not an idiot.
I
wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I did it. I know. My wife was like, I would have just thrown it away. I'm like, I know, but it was right there, and it looks so good.
Was there mayonnaise on it?
Yes, there was. Yeah.
You're really gambling with your life.
I know. I think it's because it was so cold in the room, and then wrapped up really tight. I don't know why, but I don't know. We're good.
But you're here today,
dude. I know a boxing gym. I know a boxing coach at the boxing gym that was eating Chinese food with shrimp. I know there was shrimp in it, and it had been out for like since the day before, and he left it at the gym, and he forgot to refrigerate it, and he was eating it like.
There's a lot of bacteria at the gym, but he's probably like burning it right away
or something. And, I don't know. Well, no, he's a boxing trainer. He's not the fighter. He's the.
Oh, well then. I don't know how it works.
I know. I should ask him how that worked out because everyone was laughing. He was like, it tastes good because he microwaved it. So he thinks that. I don't know. But I heard
microwaving seafood also. Wow.
I don't know. I know exactly.
The microwaving it probably killed a lot of the bacteria.
I know. Well, anyways, Mike, it was great talking with you. Thank you again for coming on the show, and I want people to follow you, and I want to thank you guys for letting us into your world, even if just a brief moment in time this week on Pocket Party. And thank you, Mr. Mike Black.
All right, have a good one, Darren. Bye-bye.
You got it, buddy. Bye-bye. And guys, if you want to help out the show and do me a favor, can you do me a huge favor and just comment on YouTube, comment on any of these apps that you're listening to the show on. Follow, subscribe, share it. Sharing helps a lot. And don't forget, you can go to DarrenCarter.com, hit that PayPal button. I'm also on Venmo at Darren Carter Comic on Venmo, and the Cash App, $ Darren Carter Comic on Cash App. Love you guys. Take it easy. I'll see you soon. Don't hurt nobody. Be careful.
He's a crazy chicken plucker named Darren, with no tattoos, freckles, only Darren staring down a microphone. Darren Carter will tickle your funny bone with a ho, ho, ho and a ha, ha laugh. Tune in and listen on the Pocket Party Podcast.